jumped off of a building, right?
Yeah. To be honest, I think that he thought that he was dreaming.
Yes. I think he was in relationship with the spirit world.
No, he definitely was.
I mean, truthfully, in my mind, I live in 2047. Capital Steez, my favorite, AK-47. I probably do get into a lot of weird shit. Just don't remember it because I smoke a lot. Yeah, I smoke like 4 to 7 times a day.
Illuminati trying to read my mind with an eagle eye, and the haze got me thinking why.
I started astral projecting more and more, and I saw deeper into the future, and I was like, yo, we basically have to create a group of all indigos. We have to come together, you know, create our music.
Like closer to his death, you know, there was just days where I would just look him in his eyes and he's looking past me. He's not looking at anything that's here.
It's been 12 years since Capital Steez tragically passed away, yet fans still struggle to fully grasp the loss of such a promising and unique talent. His death left so many unanswered questions, and the way he left this world has fueled endless speculation. On one hand, the official story is that he committed suicide, jumping from the rooftop of the building that housed the label he was signed to.
That is, left you? He jumped off of a building, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are darker rumors, some claiming that his longtime friend, classmate, collaborator, and Pro-Era co-founder Joey Bada Dollar may have had something to do with it due to disputes within the group.
My biggest issue is, like, forgive me, but like Joey, he gets free clothes. I wish I got free clothes.
But perhaps the most heartbreaking theory is that Steez was battling severe mental instability and may have been deeply involved in the occult, ultimately convincing himself that his death was necessary to save the world. Even Steez's family has voiced their doubts about what really happened that night. Adding to the mystery is the lack of official coverage surrounding his death. Not a single major newspaper reported on it, and the few websites that mentioned it shared little to no concrete information. For fans, the event feels almost surreal, like a haunting story that somehow never received closure. Before he allegedly took that fatal leap, Steez sent out a chilling final tweet, "The end." Even more eerie, the date of his death adds up numerically to 47, the iconic number that became the foundation of Pro-Era's branding and a central piece of Steez's identity. What was he trying to tell us? What led to that tragic moment? Let's dive in deeper. Although his time in the spotlight was brief, Capital Steez, born Courtney Jamal Dewar Jr., left an unforgettable mark on the hip-hop world. Many fans saw him as the next Tupac or Biggie, a lyrical powerhouse whose intelligence and charisma set him apart from his peers. Some even compare him to Kendrick Lamar, suggesting that if Steez had lived, he'd be enjoying the kind of success Kendrick is experiencing today. But Steez wasn't just another rapper with clever wordplay. What made him stand out was his depth. He spoke about topics most in the industry wouldn't touch. In an era where much of rap focuses on gang violence, street life, and ego battles, Steez talked about spirituality, self-awareness, and the human condition.
Why? We killed Osama and plenty innocent people died. We should see the signs, but we Stevie blind.
However, Steez was different, in a weird way. To those who knew him, it sometimes felt like he was operating in another world, one that was darker and more complicated than most people could understand.
Eventually, it got to a point where he would speak and nobody would understand.
Okay.
You know, and that's kind of how you knew, like, he was advancing.
Now it's only right we start with the number 47, the number that Steez was so infatuated with that he decided to end his life on a date where the numbers add up to those exact digits. It's the iconic number that makes up the foundational logo to the progressive era. But what does it mean, and what does it represent? To understand that, we have to go back even further and learn about Steez's upbringing. Born in 1993 in Brooklyn, Steez was the son of Jamaican parents. His early years were shaped by tragedy. His father passed away when he was just 3 years old. This loss left a void in his life, one that he tried to fill with creativity and self-expression. Raised by his mother and 2 older sisters, Tanya and Tamara, Steez often felt isolated. His sisters would later play a key role in trying to unravel the mystery of his death. As a child, Steez was drawn to music. He started rapping at a young age, using it as an outlet to process his thoughts and emotions.
Told that women will come with age and come with fame. The difference is nothing changed. I'm still on point as a syringe, but nowadays they just need an appointment to stick it in.
By the time he was in elementary school, he had teamed up with his friend Jockery Jack, who would later go by the name Jock K the Rhymer. Together, they formed a hip-hop group called Third Kind and even released a mixtape in 2009 titled The Yellow Tape. At just 16, Capital Steez had an unwavering belief in his ability to make a living as a rapper. He carried himself with a confidence that wasn't just about bravado. It was grounded in talent, vision, and an unshakable faith in his path. Once he began attending Brooklyn's Edward R. Murrow High School, everything started falling into place. The school had a strong reputation for fostering creativity, particularly in the arts and music. They even offered students free periods, known as optimal time activities, where they could spend time doing whatever they wanted. While others used it to draw or write, Steez and his crew took over the hallways, freestyling and sharpening their skills as MCs. It was during these moments that the seeds of greatness were planted. This is where Steez formed life-changing friendships. He connected with Powers Pleasant, who would go on to become a skilled DJ and producer, as well as rappers Joey Bada Dollar and CJ Fly. Together, they became the founding members of what Steez envisioned as more than just a rap group. It was a movement. He called it Pro Era, short for Progressive Era.
I took that and I was like, yo, let's start a pro era. And we just like, yo, let's be productive and progressive.
What would I want to do? I would want to make progress in the world. And that's where the most inspiration came out. So I was like, let me just try and fulfill that with my homies.
Joey Bada Dollar at the time was already starting to make waves. Under the alias Jiovi, he had been uploading his tracks to YouTube, gaining attention for his sharp lyricism and old-school flow.
Guess who's back again? I'm known to make a lose oxygen.
One day in the cafeteria, Steez approached Joey with one of his videos, asking, "Is this you?" Joey remembers this moment vividly. He couldn't believe someone like Steez, who already had a reputation as one of the best lyricists in school, was acknowledging him. Joey was thrilled and admitted he had already heard about Steez's talent through the grapevine. The two of them clicked immediately, and along with Powers Pleasant and CJ Fly, they started hanging out regularly. Their days often revolved around freestyling, building camaraderie, and of course, smoking what they lovingly referred to as the Sweet Devil's Lettuce. These smoke sessions weren't just recreational though, they became creative incubators. The group would challenge each other, trade verses, and dream big about what they could achieve. While their shared passion for music brought them together, it was their deeper spiritual beliefs that solidified their bond.
You know, we started our spiritual journeys like together. My childhood being limited.
Steez, in particular, stood out for his intensity and introspection. He wasn't just about the rhymes. He wanted to understand the world, the universe, and the purpose behind it all, and this would lead to some trouble down the line. Growing up in a Christian household where Sunday church services were the norm, he had a traditional religious foundation. But as he got older, he started to rebel against those teachings. Steez began questioning everything he had been taught, from the stories in the Bible to the way religion was practiced. He came to believe that much of it was rooted in lies and started forming his own theories. One of the ideas he embraced was that Jesus was actually black, a belief that aligned with the teachings of Rastafarianism, a spiritual movement that also captured his interest. Steez's spiritual awakening only deepened when he crossed paths with Issa Gold from the Underachievers. It was through Issa that Steez first heard about the concept of being an indigo. If you're unfamiliar, indigos are described as young people with heightened intuition, intelligence, and often a natural disdain for authority. They're seen as individuals who are more spiritually attuned and possess a deeper understanding of the universe. For Steez, learning about indigos was like finding a piece of the puzzle he'd been searching for his entire life. It validated the feelings he'd always had about being different, about seeing the world in a way others couldn't.
Yeah, I've been opening up my pineal gland. Basically, the pineal gland is a part in the brain that taps into psychic energy and possibly telekinetic energy. As a rapper, it doesn't really fall into play with my career, but I'm gonna continue doing it, and that's what I enjoy doing, you know? Because nothing on the outside world seems to make me happy. It's just the simple thing.
He became fascinated with unlocking his full potential, and his curiosity led him to a YouTube series called Spirit Science. This series covered a wide range of spiritual topics, but what resonated most with Steez were the discussions about chakras, the energy centers within the body. You can hear many of Capital Steez's deep thoughts and spiritual explorations reflected in his music, especially in tracks like Free the Robots, where he dives into heavy topics like the war on drugs and impending apocalypse and the systemic flaws of society. Then there's Vibratings, where he talks about meeting God.
In fact, I seen God today. We had a deep discussion over Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay. A bird caught my attention. I chased her and she got away.
Learning about chakras was transformative for Steez. It didn't just change the way he saw himself and the world. It fueled his creativity. His fascination with these energy centers led to the creation of Pro Era's iconic 47 logo. To Steez, the number 4 symbolized the heart chakra, representing love and balance, while the number 7 represented the crown chakra, associated with enlightenment and spiritual connection.
I started astral projecting more and more, and I saw deeper into the future, and I was like, yo, we basically have to create a group of all indigos. We have to come together, create our music.
But Steez didn't stop there. He reworked the design of the 47 to make it resemble a swastika, flipping a symbol of hate into something positive and meaningful. He openly admitted that this was partly a marketing tactic, a way to get people talking. And it worked. People noticed, and opinions were mixed. Some found it brilliant, while others felt uneasy about the imagery.
Thinking, I was like, they were like, yo, we gotta make 47 sticker. And me being like a wordplay genius, I took the sticker, like swastika. I'm like, yo, let's make a 47 sticker. And I'm like, people are gonna be ignorant, so why not just play with their brains,
But to Steez, it was never about glorifying the Nazis or anything sinister. It was about reclaiming a symbol and making it mean something entirely different. At the time, Pro Era was just a group of high school kids with big dreams and undeniable talent. They weren't scheming for world domination like the Nazis. They were just trying to spit raw bars, drop dope music, and gather a following that resonated with their message. For most of the crew, it was about having fun and creating art. But Steez, he was on another level. His spiritual journey went further than most of the members were willing or able to go, and it eventually created tension that slowed down Pro Era's rise.
Our spiritual journeys or spiritual knowledge, just everything, we was just on the same level. And then, it came to a point where he just started leading, and a distance came in between us. Closer to his death, there was just days where I would just look him in his eyes and he's looking past me. He's not looking at anything that's here.
By February 2012, just 10 months before Steez's tragic death, things were at an all-time high for Pro Era. The group, especially Steez and Joey Bada $, was riding an explosive wave of momentum. Joey had just released 1999, his debut mixtape, which quickly became a classic. The music video for Survival Tactics, a collaboration between Steez and Joey, dropped and immediately made waves. Fans were hooked on their gritty sound, sharp lyricism, and throwback boom-bap beats. The video, which showcased their undeniable chemistry and confidence, became a gateway for many fans to discover Pro Era's talent.
I'm abusing tracks, leaving instrumentals blue and black. I'm in Marty McFly mode.
Suddenly, they were the talk of the underground rap scene. Major media outlets like XL, Noisy, and Complex started featuring them, giving Pro Era a level of exposure they'd never had before. They were on the cusp of breaking into the mainstream, with Steez and Joey leading the charge. Their style brought something fresh and authentic to the table, at a time when the West Coast was dominating the hip-hop scene with its more modern, party-centric sound. Pro Era was bringing New York back into the conversation, along with groups like Flatbush Zombies and the Underachievers. They gave people a reason to believe that Brooklyn was reclaiming its place in hip-hop history. Their sound was a callback to the golden age of rap, with its focus on lyricism, storytelling, and raw beats. It was a refreshing change from the trap and club anthems that were taking over the airwaves. Pro Era wasn't just making music, they were making statements. They had a brash confidence backed by undeniable talent, and they weren't afraid to take shots at some of hip-hop's biggest names. This boldness only added to their mystique, drawing even more attention their way. For a brief moment, it felt like the sky was the limit for Steez, Joey, and the rest of the crew. But as the saying goes, what goes up must come down. For all the success and recognition they were earning, things behind the scenes were starting to get complicated. Steez and Joey, the two frontrunners of the group, began experiencing tension. Joey Bada $, was undeniably the face of Pro Era, the one getting the most attention from the press, landing the mainstream collaborations and benefiting from the label's push. After Capital Steez's passing, some behind-the-scenes details began to emerge, painting a clearer picture of how frustrated Steez had been with the way things were unfolding. Screenshots of private messages surfaced, revealing his struggles with feeling overshadowed and overlooked by the team. One of these leaked exchanges was between Steez and an in-house producer. In the messages, Steez vented about how he didn't even want to go to the studio sometimes because it felt like everything had to go through Joey. It wasn't about jealousy, it was about fairness. Steez felt like he wasn't getting the shine he deserved, and it was weighing on him. He wanted to carve out his own lane, but the system seemed to prioritize Joey as the marketable one, the mainstream star. On Reddit, fans have speculated about this dynamic, with one user outright claiming that Joey treated Steez poorly, whether intentionally or not. They suggested that Johnny Shipes, the head of Cinematic Music Group who signed Pro Era, saw Joey as the safer bet for mainstream success. Joey's charisma, delivery, and polished style made him a natural fit for the industry, while Steez's raw, spiritual, and sometimes abstract approach was harder to package for the masses. And while Joey thrived under the label's spotlight, Steez felt increasingly pushed into the background. In interviews, Steez didn't shy away from voicing his frustrations, though he always did it in a low-key, introspective way. He once talked about how he didn't get as many interviews as he wanted, how Joey was getting free clothes while he wasn't, and how much he wished he could get those same perks. To him, it wasn't just about the material things, it was about recognition, about feeling like his contributions were valued on the same level.
My biggest issue, like, forgive me, but like Joey, he gets free clothes. I wish I got free clothes.
Do you feel like all the attention's on Joey?
I can't say that I am.
You basically just did though.
Oh yeah, it is though, but like it's not hate though.
He admitted he was just trying to get a buzz for himself, trying to prove that he was just as worthy of the attention Pro Era was receiving. Also, if you listen closely to tracks like Emotionless Thoughts and King Stilo, you can hear the pain and frustration he was dealing with. Steez was always honest in his music, and he laid it all out in those songs.
And they say that once you found it, you lost your mind. Even some of my then grew apart with time. Truthfully, I needed the space. You're far too kind.
This led many fans believe his tragic passing was tied to his frustrations with the label and the struggles he felt in the shadow of Joey Badass. The fact that Steez chose to jump from the rooftop of the label's building made it feel like a symbolic act, almost like he was making a statement about the industry that he felt was suffocating him. But then, things took an even stranger turn when a conspiracy started circulating that Joey might have been involved in some way, with theories suggesting that Steez's death benefited Joey and Pro Era by boosting their fame. Now that sounds pretty wild at first, right? But if you've spent any time in the rabbit hole of Reddit threads or conspiracy blogs, you'll see this isn't an uncommon narrative. People point out patterns in Hollywood where major celebrities experience the loss of someone close to them right as they're reaching new levels of fame. Think of Eminem losing Proof or Lil Durk losing King Von. Fans tie these tragedies to rumors of the Illuminati, claiming these deaths happen to people in the industry who want out. Steez, being the deep thinker and conspiracy theorist he was, is said to have been aware of these things. Some believe he tried to break free of what he saw as a corrupt system and paid the ultimate price. Of course, it's just speculation, but these rumors have been fueled further by tensions between Joey and Steez's family. Steez's sisters have spoken out multiple times saying they don't know the full story of what happened to their brother and accusing Joey of withholding information. They've also called him out for allegedly keeping unreleased music from being shared and not donating proceeds from the annual Steez Day festival in the way they believe he should. Things got so bad that they were reportedly banned from attending the festival altogether. Joey, for his part, has defended himself in interviews. He's said that working out the financials of releasing Steez's posthumous project was a complicated process and that the family didn't fully understand the business side of the music industry. According to Joey, releasing music isn't as simple as just dropping tracks for free. There are people involved who need to be paid for their work, and everything has to make sense financially. In an interview with a therapist, Joey opened up about Steez's state of mind before his death. He said Steez was dreaming when he made the decision to end his life.
To be honest, I think that he thought that he was dreaming.
Yes. I think he was in relationship with the spirit world.
No, he definitely was.
Joey also shared that he believes Steez thought the world was going to end and that by dying, he could be reborn in the year 2047. It's a wild thought, but it lines up with Steez's deeply spiritual and conspiracy-driven outlook on life. He was someone who saw the world differently, who operated on a wavelength that most people couldn't fully grasp. At the same time, some have suggested that Steez's intense ideas and behaviors might have been signs of schizophrenia. His unique way of thinking, combined with his spiritual beliefs and the immense pressure he felt, may have created a perfect storm. Over a decade later, no one knows exactly what happened during the final 24 hours of Steez's life. Officially, he was pronounced dead on December 24, 2012. But some fans believe he actually passed on December 23rd, as that date adds up to 47. Whether you believe the theories or not, one thing is clear. Capital Steez was a complex, brilliant, and deeply misunderstood individual whose impact is still felt today.